Welcome to the Tuesday. No, wait, I got this. I promise. Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Okay, I got this. Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Hey, Alio, how's it going? Oh, we're a bit blurry here. Sorry about that, folks. Let me get myself situated. Sent you an article on Twitter about student loans. Okay. Hold on, folks. We gotta deal with something really quick here. All right, let me check it out, Alio. Okay. And in the meantime, we can also, Alright, we'll just leave it like this. Not exactly what I wanted, but that's okay. Are you feeling better today? Yeah, I'm okay. I am okay. Let me just make sure I got chat going. Cool. Okay. Okay, I think we got it here. How's it going, everybody? So I am feeling much better. At least I'm not, you know, sneezing or having a runny nose every 5 seconds. So that's good. It is unbelievably frustrating, having constant runny nose. I'm still not sure if whether or not it was like a flash cold, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Because there was no other symptoms, really. Just a lot of sneezing and a lot of runny nose. So, for all I know, it could just be allergies for some reason. I don't know. You're waiting for your very helpful input as usual. That sounds like the virus our family got a few weeks ago, knocked our butts for the floor for like 3 days. Yeah, but this one is like literally overnight, you know? Low grade fever, sneezing, runny nose, really tired. Yeah. Like it hit me overnight. And then like I don't know. It just kind of stayed this way. Yikes, it took about a week to get over. Sheesh. Hope you're doing alright. It has been reported in a ton of schools. I'm doing fine. I hope you feel better. Oh yeah, I'm okay. Past this day, I'm good. All I need is a lot of tea. Is a lot of tea. Got some good soup, some Benadryl, and we're off to the races. And- Yeah, I'm doing alright. No worries. Okay. So I think that's the articles that we need to go over today. Okay. Let's get the show started, yeah? Alright, so this is just to piggyback off what we were talking about yesterday. Student loan borrowers will get help after an NPR report and years of complaints. Okay. I mean, I guess it could be attributed to news, attributed to media. The U.S. Department of Education says it will retroactively help millions of federal student loan borrowers who have been hurt and held back by its troubled income-driven repayment plans, calling the plan's long-standing flaws and mismanagement inexcusable. We actually sort of touched on it briefly. I made a few mentions or a few comments that, these student loan repayments after X amount of years, I think it's 20 years, they'll automatically kind of forgive the debt. And unfortunately, they had no good way of tracking it, so on and so forth. They had massive reporting problems. Well, it looks like maybe they'll start addressing some of this. It only took a couple of years of complaints and lawsuits, but hey. Tuesday announcements comes from after years of complaints and lawsuits, and most recently an NPR investigation revealed that these IDR plans, which promise affordable monthly payments as low as $0 and loan forgiveness after 20 to 25 years, have been badly mismanaged by the department and the loan servicing companies it employs. Today, the Department of Education will begin to remedy the years of administrative failures that have effectively denied the promise of loan forgiveness to certain borrowers enrolled in IDR plans. U.S. Secretary Miguel Cardona said in a statement, the department estimates that the changes will result in immediate debt cancellation for 40,000 borrowers who will now qualify for public service loan forgiveness. In addition, several thousand borrowers will now qualify for debt cancellation under IDR. So that's that's a good step, right? Definitely having a functional and functional and funded Department of Education to help catch these problems is useful. So that's good. That's good news. This follows a 2021 revelation that at the time 4.4 million borrowers had been repaying their loans for at least 20 years, but only 32 had debt canceled under IDR. Right, so in other words, there's millions who could have their debts canceled just with a snap of a finger. Which then again, it begs the question, dude, why not just start doing this broadly? Do an entire debt jubilee. Kickstart this economy for middle class and working class. All in one shot. As a result of Tuesday's news, millions of more borrowers will also receive months and in some cases years of new credit towards eventual cancellation. Borrowers with long-term forbearances will get credit towards debt cancellation. The department and its Office of FSA, Federal Student Aid, pledged to conduct a one-time account adjustment to give borrowers credit for time spent in what it considers unjustifiably long forbearances, more than 12 consecutive months or more than 36 cumulative months. Forbearance allows borrowers in financial trouble to pause their payments, but interest continue to accrue and capitalize, meaning the interest itself ends up accruing interest. Holy yikes. Income-driven replacement plans can offer the same or nearly the same reprieve from high monthly payments, and unlike forbearance, they give borrowers a path towards loan cancellation. So the bare minimum, at least, we're getting to a functional institution here. According to the department, between July of 2009 and March of 2020, more than 13% of all direct loan payers were in forbearance for at least 36 months, suggesting that loan servicers place borrowers into forbearance in violation of department rules, even when their monthly payment under IDR would have been low as zero. The department generally limits forbearance to 12 consecutive months or 3 years total, after which payments should resume. The department's remedy means that borrowers will be given credit towards loan cancellation for some of these long-term forbearances. For example, a borrower who spent 16 consecutive months in forbearance would be given credit for 16 qualifying payments towards cancellation. Sheesh. The plan does exclude one prominent group of borrowers, those who spent less than 12 consecutive months and less than 36 cumulative months in forbearance, though it does promise an account review for those who choose to file a complaint with FSA's ombudsman. NPR reported earlier this month revealed pervasive inaccuracies in loan servicers' count of borrowers qualifying IDR payments, which the department now acknowledges and pledges to address with a one-time revision of past payments. Sheesh. I mean, like I said, I don't understand. If you can make all this effort, which, again, is definitely better than nothing, right? It's definitely better than keeping, the policies as they are right now, or as they were with all these inaccuracies. Sure. But, if you can put all your effort into making this happen, then why not just go, on a debt jubilee and give these folks a massive opportunity, right? The folks who want to make something, the folks who dedicated years and countless hours to their study, to their degrees. A chance, Come on, man. Come on, Jack. Let's just drop the malarkey, all right? Let's just drop the malarkey and do it already. Sheesh. After acquiring internal department documents, NPR found a litany of irregularities in how loan servicers were counting or failing to count qualifying IDR payments, thereby delaying borrowers' progress towards forgiveness. Not by mistake, I think. Not by mistake. For example, zero monthly payments were not being adequately tracked, potentially hurting the lowest income borrowers. Also, borrowers appeared to erroneously lose credit for previous progress made towards IDR after emerging from default. Jesus Christ. Imagine paying all this time and then what? Yikes. The department is offering 2 remedies for another serious problem highlighted in NPR's recent investigation. The loan servicers weren't uniformly tracking borrowers' progress towards loan cancellation, and some weren't tracking their progress at all. Sheesh. Yikes. These changes will happen automatically, but may take a while. The department says it will make these adjustments to borrow records automatically, but first it will need to upgrade its antiquated National Student Loan Data System. As such, loan cancellations won't officially begin until fall of this year. The overhaul does come amid mounting political pressure. Wait, I thought this wasn't, popular. Wait. The department unveiled its overhaul plans amid mounting pressure from lawmakers on Monday, citing NPR's reporting. The chairs of both House and Senate Education Committees, Representative Bobby Scott and Senator Pat Murray, urged Education Secretary Miguel Cardona in a letter to provide immediate relief and undo past harms. Borrowers have for too long lived with ballooning debts and false promises of loan forgiveness. Yeah, and not only that, imagine the concept of having this much of a burden just to get an education. Imagine having this much burden just to get an education. Like I said, I think the best, if we can put all these resources and efforts, just start doing a debt jubilee. Start doing a student debt jubilee and a medical debt jubilee, and be done with it. I think that it would be worth waiting a couple of months so that the governmental institutions get their ducks in a row, and then just start doing it. Instead of having these around the edges kind of deal. I mean, like I said, it's not that it doesn't need to be done. It's incredibly ludicrous that there have been people who have been paying for quite some time who are eligible for forgiveness and have not, because they haven't had a proper tracking system. Yeah, that's ludicrous, and obviously it needs to be fixed, but it is getting fixed. But I think that if we can put all this effort here, then we can definitely make an effort to just start alleviating this debt, period. I mean, that would be ideal. That's something that folks can actually feel. The letter said payments must be corrected retroactively in order to provide relief to borrowers who have already been harmed by this broken safety net. While the department's proposal addresses some of Scott's and Murray's demand, it falls short in at least one area. The top Democrats implored the department to retroactively give borrowers credit towards loan cancellation for all past periods of forbearance, not just long-term pauses. I mean, again, or just simply move towards a debt jubilee. I don't understand. Today's announcement means that borrowers in income-driven repayments will finally have reliable access to loan forgiveness that they were promised and have been working towards. However, while the department has taken a significant step to support borrowers, we know we must do more to fix our broken student loan system, including the income-driven repayment programs. Last week, leading Senate Democrats, Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Dick Durbin of Illinois, sent a letter to Consumer Finance Protection Bureau Director Rohit Chopra, calling for his agency to investigate and use all its authorities to ensure borrowers are accessing IDR program benefits and receive student loan forgiveness they have earned. The department's announcement also comes not long before the U.S. Government Accountability Office is expected to release the results of its own investigation into the IDR's failures. Oof. Yikes. Giga yikes. I mean, in my opinion, come on, chat. Let me move you over here. Okay. In my opinion, I think that this administration has the capabilities of doing a little bit more, and I think it's time to collect on those promises, yeah? Just do it. All right, we've got a very important article to go through. I think this is worth talking about. Climate change risks get the attention of real estate investors. Really? That's interesting. They are thinking more seriously about flooding, but a lack of established standards for assessing development projects is challenging their efforts. In Charleston, South Carolina, climate change is becoming impossible to ignore. In the historic city center, sunny day flooding occurs roughly once a week, making downtown difficult to traverse. Groundwater has begun to burble up in spots, and after a downpour, much of the region is susceptible to flooding. City officials are aware of this vulnerability, and they're pondering big initiatives like a partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers to build a $1.1 billion sea wall and pioneering zoning laws that would prohibit development in the city's lowest areas. Yeah, okay, so I don't think investing in $1 billion in a seawall is necessarily the right play. I don't know if it's out of necessity. But nonetheless, I think that the costs I think the costs are worth mentioning, right? This is the cost of climate change. Just in this one city for this one project. And that's not even getting at the whole preventative measures. This is just a reaction to the rising to flooding, right? To more events of flooding and the rising seas. This is a reactive measure, a band-aid. And that band-aid costs $1.1 billion just for the city alone. Despite the hazards, Charleston is booming. The population grew 25% from 2010 to 2020 to about 150,000, and the region has seen an influx of new residents eager to experience the city's charm. Development in the city has responded. In the 2 years before the pandemic, builders added 7,700 multi-family apartments. Jeez. Yikes. This is giving me some Miami vibes. Or, well, not Miami, but you get my point, the beach. Beach vibes where these folks just continue to push development. For all these fancy new buildings, knowing full well that as soon as they're done, they get their money and peace out, because in the decades to come, oof. And 6,000 more were slated for 2020. The pandemic slowed construction, but it has continued. A local newspaper keeps a running tally of the cranes over the downtown area, which sits on a peninsula bound by 2 rivers. Sheesh. It's not that developers are unaware of the risk of flooding. Everyone's very mindful of it. It's the it's top of mind in decision-making process. But at this point, said Gary White, a former city council member who runs real estate investment firm, but at this point, it's not a deciding factor when developers weigh whether to build in Charleston, right? Because they're not interested in the long term. Remember, folks, it's just very simple. It's driven by the necessity to make profit, short-term profit. That is, the developers don't need to care necessarily. They just need to make sure that they build their they build their thing, they get their money, and they peace out. That's it. They're not the ones that are going to get stuck with that hot potato. But but investors backing so much of the development are thinking more seriously about risks associated with climate change. You don't think? Yeah, like this is the only way these people will like care. Do you not want development of homes? I actually didn't say that. Plus, I think we have like more than enough homes, but that's a separate point from maybe you shouldn't develop in an area that's going to be like destroyed in the next like couple of decades, right? Which is why investors, not the developers, are kind of thinking about it because they're the ones who are going to get stuck with the hot potato. We take that into consideration in every single investment. Damn. It's almost like climate change is a thing. Huh, who would have thought? This is the only way this is the only language these people understand. The moment it touches my pocketbook, I have to care about it. The moment it touches my profit, I have to care about it. We take that into consideration on every single investment, said Bobby Wareham, a senior vice president at Bellwether Enterprises who focuses on commercial real estate projects in the Southeast, including Charleston. Developers in Charleston are not yet facing expanded scrutiny or higher rates for capital, but Mr. Wareham predicts that those changes will come soon. Downward pressures from investors will require developers to take those things into consideration. Charleston isn't unusual around the country, including in coastal regions like Boston and South Florida. Development is booming despite the lingering pandemic and increasingly dire reports from agencies like NOAA and the Ipcc. Extreme weather seemingly hasn't made a dent in the pace of construction again because developers aren't the ones that are going to have to deal with that, right? The developers are just simply going to make their millions or make their money and get out. They're not the ones that are going to get stuck there. But among the investment group that provides capital to developers, perspectives are starting to shift, right? Because it's not a problem until it's my problem, and now it's touching profits. Many may not have given climate change a second thought a few years ago, but they're paying close attention now because it's unavoidable. That's why. Awareness of climate-related risk among investment groups is new. Right, because it's now beginning to... these folks are beginning to see it in their pockets, right? In their profits. The head of global environmental, social, and governance strategy in Heitman, a real estate investment management firm that teamed up with the Urban Land Institute to write a series of reports on real estate investment and climate risk. In 2019, we surveyed investment managers about whether most hadn't mapped their portfolio to risk, and that strategy has changed a year later. They've gone on to think not just about property level risk, but also market level risk. Similarly, the CRE Finance Council, a real estate trade association, began last year to develop a new iteration of its investor reporting package used to evaluate prospective projects. The update will include disclosures related to sustainability and resilience. And by the way, this has been talked about in the Ipcc. Listen, if you want to debate bro me, you're not going to win this one. It sounds like listen, what my whole argument is, developers are continuing to develop in areas that are going to be increasingly susceptible to climate change, and they're doing it because they don't care, because they're not the ones that are going to get stuck with the hot potato, and they should stop development in those areas. Besides, most of those coastal areas are like, for rich people. Because you think there's already enough. Yes. But that's a whole separate argument than the one that this article is, than the one that I'm trying to hold with this article, which is they need to stop development in coastal areas and areas that are susceptible to climate change. Should the development of high-priced homes and endanger these families just for profit? Developers don't care. The update will include similarly, the CRE Finance Council, a real estate trade association, began last year to develop new iterations of investor reporting package used to evaluate prospective projects. The update will include disclosures related to sustainability and resilience, like a property's ability to withstand both acute and chronic stress. Oh yeah, sorry. So my point was going, where this chain of thought was going, is that the IPCC report actually makes a mention that this needs to be a new norm, right? You need to take into account sustainability. You need to take account into resilience and mitigation and adaptation. The association's leaders say this started the effort at the urging of members who have become increasingly concerned about climate change related risk. Yep. We talked about this as well. Sorry, my brain's not working. Let me try this again. I do want them to stop making rich people housing most of us can't even dream of affording for a completely different reason. Yeah, that's why I was trying to make the point, hippie, that I separated that, right? That's a separate argument. For a completely different reason, these developers are endangering these families just to make a dollar. What happens when the houses flood? Oh, it lines the pockets of insurance companies. No, insurance companies, it's the opposite. One bad hurricane season, insurance companies are swimming in red ink. Okay, they lost tens of billions of dollars. Well, I'm speaking from Florida. So much so that they're increasing insurance rates. So just for perspective, an insurance rate here in South Florida is 3 times as much as we're going. Home insurance here, just for good old regular house. Not commercial property, not anything like that. Making luxury apartments that clears time for multi-roommates, living like 3 to 4 bedrooms. Maybe. Anyways, instead of affordable apartments and housing for these same people. Yeah, I mean, whatever makes the bucks, they're not really, they're not interested in thinking about that. They're interested in and how much money they can make. So my point is, already in South Florida, insurance for houses, homeowners insurance, is about 3 times as much as it is in other states. Well, into the other state that I'm going to that doesn't have, how should I say, as many? Like there's obviously gonna be different different issues to deal with, but they're not the same as living in South Florida, right? So for perspective, where we're going, it's 3 times cheaper. In a red flag for investors, commercial property insurance rates have risen significantly for the last 18 months. Yeah, see, like, this is why, like, I don't understand what the impetus is of attempting to deny the realities of climate change, because these folks aren't. Florida has more issues with potential weather-related problems that can wipe out entire communities all at once. Yeah, one bad hurricane, and that's it, folks. It's going to be a lot of destruction. People don't realize. People don't realize, you know. Oh shoot! Hold on, folks. Yikes. I'm in Tornado Alley, but tornadoes are weird and can jump out and can jump or wipe out a garage and leave an entire bigger house next to it perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not the same as, like, experiencing a hurricane. But nonetheless, it is terrifying. Oof. That is terrifying. Oh, we've got a cat in studio, folks. Well, not in studio per se, but in my room. Boo Man Chewy, serious stream over. It's time for Kitty Stream. True. There's always room for Kitty Stream. How's it going? I almost made a tactical error in not plugging in my laptop. That would have been awkward. I'm running for POTUS on the sole platform of every Twitch streamer must have a pet cam. Listen, you have... excuse me. You have my complete and total endorsement. Do you want to say hi, Kitty? Say hello, Makita. Hello, everybody. Hey, Cheeseburger, how's it going? Look at this precious kitty. All right. Luffy, baby. Yeah. Meow, meow, purr, purr, indeed. Chat, can you get someone... The way... looks at you the way Kitty looks at ADT. True. True. Isn't she just precious? Alright, hold on, folks. She wants to, Hey, Thandera, how's it going? She wants to leave. Hold on. Cats are definitely their own creatures? Yeah, of course. Did you hear what's going on in Palestine? No. Oh my goodness. Chat. Just... Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, come on. Every year when Palestinian pray in Al-Aqsa during the Ramadan, they get gassed and beaten and arrested for dumb excuses. This time it's extreme rock throwing. What? And they're bombing the Gaza Strip? Yikes. Jesus. Sheesh. Now this had a video about it on Twitter and it was really awful. Yikes. If you want to post the link, or actually send it to me, Fu Manchu, so I can post it in chat. Or, here. Yeah, just send it to me. And I can just post it in chat for those who want to, who can stomach that, you know? It's probably TOS. That's fine. I can just post the link in chat, and just folks who want to see that can, of course, with the warning, you know. Just won't show it on stream. Yeah, if either of you have it, just send it to me so I can repost in chat. Okay. Putting the train back on the track after a much needed interruption by Makita the cat. That is always a perfectly fine interruption. I don't think there's any objection to having Makita the cat on stream. Okay. In the past, investors might have depended on insurance to absorb most of a property's risk, but these days, investment managers are realizing they have to own the risk over the property's lifetime. They can't rely on insurers. Accurately assessing a risk of a specific asset in a particular market is challenging, though, and that's creating uncertainty for investors. People are struggling with how really to measure the risk from climate change. The science of looking at how climate change and extreme weather can affect properties is at its infancy, even though we've talked about even though like there's been known what I'm trying to say is that the knowledge has been there for quite some time. There's been plenty of warnings, plenty of time to begin to mitigate this issue, to address this issue. They chose to ignore all signs until now because it's affecting them. There are several different videos and angles on I.onPalestine Instagram page. Oh, I don't know if I can I post links on that? Well, there's only one way to find out. Oh, I see.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother in Islam, Yasir Qadi. So my friend Eddie from the Dean Show.
Jesus. Yikes. This one is a little bit less TOS. I mean, it is on YouTube, so it's a little bit safer, but just in case. I'm gonna repost that there. Yikes. It reminds me. Folks, if you haven't already, consider checking out twitch.tv/leftflankvets. Yikes. Alright, putting the train back on the tracks, the science of looking at how climate change and extreme weather can affect properties is at its infancy. Efforts to capture some of that science and turn it into actionable data are growing. Over the past few years, for-profit services like Moody's ESG Solutions and Archipelago, and nonprofit research groups like First Street Foundation and Rhodium have evolved to quantify the physical risk of an asset. It's called climate risk. For projects in the United States, they can often provide granular property-level data. For example, on a project on high ground will be rated as lower risk even if there's a stream on the property. But the field lacks established standards. The data analytics firms use different map scenarios and methodologies. Some take into account building types and infrastructure, while others are more basic, making assessments difficult to compare. And that's just physical risk. Investors are also mindful of transition risk, which includes changes to the policy and regulatory environment. For example, if Charleston's leaders amend the zoning code to ban building at the lowest elevations, land values in the city could radically shift. Similarly, a seawall would be paid in part for by increased property taxes, or they should be forwarded. That bill should be forwarded to the folks who are responsible for this, like the fossil fuel industry. But that's just me. I want to get someone else's opinion on this. What do you think about the libs of TikTok drama? Seems like there's some people doing wrong on both sides. I wish I cared. I understand that point of view, but that one journalist seems to be previously super opposed to it, and it's just where the hypocrisy is, at least for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seemed to me like more internet drama, and the moment people were sensationalizing stuff and all this back and forth, I don't care. People are saying she got doxxed, but I've never seen that. I don't know. Doxing is bad. But anyways, yeah, like I wish I cared. I wish I cared about a TikTok page. Bro, it's social media. People are claiming that one person is doxing a very public person who's registered a public name with the LLC of the same name of the account. Okay. The TikTok page is a political entity. They're literally listed on the... What? As inspo? Like in support? So the TikTok page is a political entity? Oh, if so, I mean, then there should be public scrutiny. Interesting how influential the Twitter account in the interesting thing is how influential the Twitter account is in national GOP media. I mean, if they're acting as a political entity, then, I mean, oh, but it was cited as influence. Okay. Huh. Hmm. People in DeSantis' administration are on record saying they didn't support the Don't Say Gay bill until she saw the commentary on a video from the Twitter account. I mean, if you're acting in the capacity of like a political entity, I mean, Tucker Carlson, Jesus Christ, regularly uses footage shared by the Twitter account in his segments. I also seen Laura Ingraham use that as well. Yikes. At a certain point, I lose empathy for outing people for pushing harmful stuff on a national level. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but also, like, bro, if you're acting in a capacity of a political entity and influencing legislation, at some point, there's going to be some type of scrutiny. There's going to be a microscope, you know what I mean. There's going to be some level of like public, scrutiny on you, right? Magnifying glass. There you go. At some point, the magnifying glass is going to come over you, especially if you're acting in a as a political actor that has influenced legislation. Yikes. That's horrifying. Those teachers were doxxed in the comments, and those posts received tons of harassment too. Sheesh. Yeah, that's rich. Wait, so you're complaining about the same thing that you're doing? Allegedly? Hmm. The page has done everything from pushing the groomer narrative to calling teachers to be fired for explaining to students that said teacher is LGBT. Yikes. That's gross. Wait, so you're saying, wait. Are these the same people that are pushing the OK groomer thing? It's only okay to groom children if it's from their point of view, right? The radical, like evangelical, fundamentalist kind of deal. They jumped onto that narrative along with the rest of the GOP. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Are they the ones that started that thing? The whole thing with like the quote "okay groomer" thing. Is that them? At this point, it seems like they're funded and supported by bigger GOP operatives. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're acting in the capacity of a political PAC entity, then yeah, there's going to be a magnifying glass on you at some point, right? That account started the gay people are groomers thing, and it's an old homophobic trope. I think so. Yes. That's just horrifying. Yeah, I think Fu Manchu was saying that Tucker Carlson was also using her account in his show. Yikes. Even in liberal communities, we were harassed not too long ago for allowing our children to shoot guns and play video games. We were brainwashed. We were brainwashing them into violence. Exact quote. It happens on both sides. I'm not condoning this by any means, just pointing out it happens. Wait, what? I'm not making sense out of that one. Anyways, cringe. Cringe. People grooming their children. Yeah, but like that's the point. But you're using like the problem is like also the word has a meaning. Grooming is a very specific definition. Has a very specific definition. The best part of all this is the account has over 650K on Twitter alone. It also has a large following on Instagram and Facebook, Getter, and other sites to build out an email list likely to be used in the midterms. Sheesh. Right, like that's what I'm saying. Like grooming is a very specific term. That is a very specific word. Sorry for derailing the stream. It's okay. We're gonna get right back on it. Honestly, viewing cross increase and chat is popping off seems like a good engagement. Yeah, but I mean, like well, that's secondary to what I'm trying to push. That's so smart. Why the F people on the left don't do that strategy? Wait, what? What strategy? Oh, I see. So like grow like Twitter accounts and have large followings on social media and then push like email lists and stuff like that for like politics purposes. Yeah, I mean, that's good. Oh, they definitely do. I belong to a few. Oh, huh. Nice. Well, yeah, actually, yeah. The Dems aren't left and they don't want to fundamentally change things. They're still beholden to capital interests, especially in native talk. What is native talk? like for indigenous folks. However, do try to do that. Yeah, I've seen a few. Oh, the indigenous community. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, chat. Let's get the train back on the tracks. So, climate risk. And that's just a physical risk. Investors are also mindful of transition risk, which includes changes to policy and regulatory environment. For example, if Charleston's leaders amend the zoning code to ban building at the lowest elevations, land values in the city could radically shift. Similarly, a seawall would be paid in part for increased property taxes. Both options could affect the city's attractiveness to investors, but most of the existing climate models do not comprehensively address potential changes like these. Where investors are also peppering developers with questions about resilient strategies, we ask, have you mitigated this risk? Said Helen Gerfel, who head of global sustainability and innovation of CBRE Investment Management. We look at every single detail. Some developers have capitalized on growing interest in Charleston. For instance, Adam Monroe says his company, Middle Street Partners, has focused on flood mitigation in the past few years. The group is on 2 developments in the region, and both include important factors to manage stormwater and ensure that operations can continue in case of flooding. Michael Mayer, chief executive of West Edge Foundation, which is behind redevelopment projects, a redevelopment project in one of the most vulnerable parts of Charleston's Peninsula, is also taking mitigation seriously. The complex, which abuts the Ashley River, has been built with a robust drainage system and roads that are elevated several feet above grade, allowing them to act like protective embankments. Investors combine mitigation information from developers with data from climate modeling software to create a comprehensive sense of a project's risk, and then decide whether to move forward. Some struggle to align the competing results from different assessments. There are market risks, physical risks, and financial risks, said Billy Grayson, who leads the Center for Sustainability and Real Estate at Urban Land Institute. It's a pretty complex ecosystem and really hard to really assess and price it into a real estate decision. Yeah. Before we get too focused again, quick question. Are you into debating / Twitch panels? I try not to really involve myself. I try not to involve myself when it comes to like debates and panels. I've been on a couple. I could probably count them on one hand. The amount of times I've shown up for a debate, or like on a panel from like a smaller, smaller community and things like that. That being said, Benjamin P. Dixon rating with a massive party, 41. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. Folks, if you don't know who we are A Difficult Truth. We do news and politics, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday. Happy 420 from Like It or Not. Hey, Jam Tomb. Folks, if you don't already, Superfly Trans Guy, how's it going? Please make sure you show the Benjamin P. Dixon Show a much warm and awesome love. And if you haven't already, please go check out Jam Tomb as well. Toma de los Toils, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I like your streams, but lately new streamers I follow get sucked into debate bro Twitch communities, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen to you too. Listen, I'm a closet debate bro. But honestly, that's not what my stream is about. I've been like way in the past. I'm a silly girl. Thank you for the follow. I've been like in maybe one panel that was like for small stuff. I've been, I think, literally in 2 debates. One-on-one and a panel debate. Noisy Tofu, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. All the new followers, folks, you get 5 free emotes, including Bakita the cat. All right. How could you say no? How could you say no to 5 free emotes and Bakita the cat being one of them? A recovering debate, bro. That's funny. No debate broing. Come to the discussion panel instead. Yeah, I mean, like, if it's discussion panels, maybe. But I get super... Noisy Tofu gets it. There you go. But I get super, like, weird when it comes to yes. Spam the Bakita emotes. Keep them coming. Discussions can... It depends on who's running it. I'm a silly girl. Morning. Howdy. It depends on how it's run, right? Like, if it's a conversation, that's fine. You know what I mean? But, you know, it just depends on who's running it. We just did a great land back panel on Sunday at the Kevin FM. Oh, I think he's a pretty chill dude. Debates feel like people trying to get a one-up on someone else and score a point. It's cringe and hostile. I care about issues, not about being right. That's why I like discussing and asking questions. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Kevin FM. Yes, I think I've seen I've seen some other content. I think you'd enjoy Kevin's panels. Yeah, like if depending on who's running the panels, like usually I'm pretty I might be open to the idea. Fu Manchu. Oh my goodness, coming in with a 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Look at all those wonderful folks getting gifted subs. Thank you. And support for your non-debate pro politics. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, like just because I'm a closet debate bro and I have like the ability to do it doesn't mean that that's what this channel is about. You see, what happens is, hold on, this is a perfect opportunity to explain just how this works, okay? You see all the debate bro power, okay? All the debate bro power is actually being suppressed and contained within this beanie, okay? The beanie is how the debate bro energy gets trapped, okay? The beanie is how the debate bro energy gets trapped and how I'm able to keep calm at all times. That's why none of them have hats. You see? I'm not lying. You see? That's why I'm not lying. All this energy is all trapped within this beanie. ADT is Tim Pool confirmed? True. I like when we were messing around debating a troll here, like it's not that serious. Oh yeah, like if you come at me with like some debate bro stuff, like I'm gonna respond, but you know, it's not like it's not a center of the stream, right? Like I don't go around asking for debates, or I don't go finding people to debate because I think that I need to go, you know, do whatever. The real, like, one of the real trolls taste better after being properly roasted. Yeah, especially like coming at me with things that I never said. Like, bro, if you're gonna come here and debate bro me, you better not miss. If you think you're gonna come here and debate bro me, you better not miss. I think you'd enjoy panels. He does it on Sundays. Okay, the VOD for Land Back is still up. Nice. Sometimes it's fun to find out where they draw their conclusions. Yeah, sure, I'm all about that. I'm completely fine with like arguing with chat. If they come in here with like some nonsense, I will push back on that. Especially if they think that they're gonna come here with some like debate bro attitude. No. If you think you're gonna come here with some debate bro attitude, you better be right. Other than that, the TLDR is to Fu Manchu. I don't actively look for debates. And I don't actively, like, it's not part of my content, and I don't think it should be. I think, like, a problem with, like, debates is that debate in and of itself isn't bad. Debating is good. Debating is good. Pushing back on nonsense ideas is good. My issue starts becoming when it transforms from having, like, legitimate discussions turn into, let's make a spectacle out of this. Let's make a spectacle out of legitimate reasons, or sorry, legitimate topics, I should say, and turn that into a spectacle is where I start having problems, because then I start, like, questioning, like, wait a minute, hold on. Do you actually care about these issues, or are we just making, like, a show? You know? I mean, if you're just making a show, hey, listen, that's fine. You be you up front, but I mean, these are real issues that affect real people, and, as such, they should be given the seriousness, right? But that's just me, But it is what it is. Debate me, bro. Yeah, I'm just curious. Lib came into the anarchist chat thinking he was dealing with communists and not anarchists, and would accept communism. Well, yeah, all these things are different. Like, they have, like, I'm pretty non-denominational, for lack of a better word. But all these words have meanings. An anarchist is not necessarily the same as a communist, and that's not necessarily the same as a, like, liberal libertarian type. And that is not the same as a conservative, which is not the same. Like, there's so many different labels, but, like, people get all that crossed and poisoned. Debate me? All right. On what? No, I'm kidding. All right, so for the Benjamin P. Dixon folks who just came in, we were doing an article on the risk of climate change when it comes to property. And the whole point of bringing this article up is to kind of illustrate that all of these big investment folks absolutely accept the realities that climate change is real, but are only just getting around to addressing the risk because it's hurting their pockets, right? These developers, not investors, the developers who continue to push development in these vulnerable areas for the sake of, big bucks, aren't the ones who are going to get stuck with the hot potato. I'm an indigenous national. Yon gave me that word because none others fit right, though I tend to anarchy. A premature entry. That's funny. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm, like, the non-denominational. I don't like labels. I think that my policy prescriptions and my takes speak for themselves. I think that my positions speak for themselves. Climate activists have been saying for a while now that the only thing that will move governments on climate change is hitting the pocketbooks of capital behind the politicians. Right, and it seems like it's kind of happening. We're finally getting around to it. The problem is, and the problem that we've been highlighting, is that it's too slow. By the time these folks, like all these, like, companies and corporations come around to understanding the severity of the issue, or, well, not understanding, because they had this evidence for decades. By the time they come around to addressing it, well, they're already piecing out, and it's too late. And it's too late. That's the issue. The free market, or the market system, um, wasn't really equipped to deal with this. It's woefully unequipped. It's woefully unequipped because it's not interested in solving that issue. It's interested in whatever pushes the most value for shareholders. That is literally the duty of these large, companies, like investment firms, even developers, all these large companies who keep pushing and pushing and pushing properties in, like, I don't know, the beach. They're not interested in, like, oh yeah, well, in about 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, none of this is going to be like good. So no, they don't care about that. They're like, all right, how much money can we make now, and are we going to peace out? What's the deal? And that's it. The severity, they just think that either they'll be okay because they're rich, or they're just going to capitalize now because the world is ending anyways. I don't know. I think it's because it's really because it's not affecting them yet as much. Right now, it's beginning to maybe, kind of, sort of, hopefully, perhaps, get into their radar. But by the time, like, developers, and not developers, by the time investors get really, really serious about this, yeah, they absolutely know the severity. It's just like they just have to weigh that with how much money, right? They just have to weigh that. And if the money isn't worth it, or the money is worth it, they're not going to solve the issue. Like, they just kind of weigh that. That's the calculus. Right. You got to make your dollar today. Peace out. And, whatever, we'll figure it out. And if you don't, then good luck. By the time it affects them, Yakani's core will be cooled and her surface heated, and there'll be no fixing it. Right. We'll be setting off irreversible chain reactions that is going to make this place miserable. Like, why care about the planet when I can make money? Checkmate, libs. True. I don't know. I'm a very simple guy. I'm a very simple guy. I enjoy, like, the little things in life. Like air, water, the ability to grow food. These are just, like, call me simple. But I enjoy the little things in life, like living. The Amazon water engine is being dismantled. The Amazon is on the cusp of becoming a savanna. I can't wait for it to be privatized during the water wars. Oh, Fu Manchu. How do I say this? Maybe it's better if I just show you. We took Rocky Mountain air and put it in a bottle just for you. Amazon's state is horrific. I've watched it disappear patch by patch by patch since Google Earth started. Yeah. I believe that Earth, oh man, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Yakni is a being, a life. I'd really like for people to stop torturing her and murdering her chosen life forms. Just because we have opposable thumbs and big egos is not a good reason to cause extinction of other nations. True. I agree. I agree. Yakni. Gotcha. What the hell is the point of marketing this? I don't know, but y'all thought I was playing. I felt like I felt like I needed to show you instead of just like make the comment. It's better when you see it, right? It's the Chickasaw word for earth. Gotcha. Yakni. We've gone fully past capitalism and straight into Spaceballs. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, right now we are at the point where we're betting. We can bet on the futures of water if you want, because of course that has to be that has to be taken into account. I mean, if you want, you can bet on the futures of water. Like I said, just just the little things in life that one would need. Put that on the stock market. The bigger players get it. They're concerned, said Jim Clayton, a professor of real estate in New York University in Toronto and co-author of a 2021 UN report on climate risk and commercial property values. Some of those larger investors, particularly in Europe or Canada, are reconsidering markets altogether. The broader real estate market does not yet reflect investors' shifting thinking about climate-related risk. That means developers are not experiencing higher financing rates or finding it more difficult to sell their projects, even in particularly risky cities like Charleston, which is why they keep pushing for things like this, because they're going to make their money and they're going to make their money and peace out. Yeah, bet on futures of humankind. I wouldn't bet on the side of water, unfortunately. Yeah. That's hilarious, Jam Tomb. Industry observers believe that those changes are coming. The Security and Exchange Commission proposed a rule in March that would require public companies to disclose their climate-related risks. Once it's enacted, the practice will eventually influence the private sector. It's slow-moving change. It's like watching grass grow and then all of a sudden, it's 3 feet long. That's going to be sea levels, my friends. Failure to address this problem, that's how it's going to look like. Okay? I think humans, some of them will survive to annihilate yet another planet one day. Yeah, like the human race isn't going to be extinct. Just to be clear, like humans aren't going to go I don't believe they're going to go extinct because of climate change. It's just going to be catastrophic. It's just going to be catastrophic. It's going to affect billions of people across the planet. It's going to cause severe extinction events for the ecosystems that keep us alive. It's going to make life here pretty, how should I say this? Pretty unpoggers. Really sticking it to the man, huh? That's funny, Jam Tomb. What if the oil execs and billionaires just keep moving to wherever the world is least affected by climate change at that point until the world is uninhabitable? There's only so much that your money will save you from. If that's a situation, then there's only so much. Make me dab. Okay, I owe Fu Manchu a dab. Hold on, I gotta make sure I do it a proper dab. You know, I gotta make sure we do it properly. Ukraine supplies about 4.5 million with fresh food. Spoilers, no one is farming right now. Yeah. You might be my new favorite person. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We used to have a diversity of tactics, and it amused me to take something and hoard it. I hoarded that the oligopoly wants. I'm the kid holding it just out of reach. That's hilarious. That's one way of thinking about it. I could see the world's most powerful people gathering in the most habitable places and killing anyone who comes close. I mean, I think at some point I gave you a host. Thank you so much, Superfly Trans Guy. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I don't know how much that will last, Tendera. You know, at some point, even the most rich and powerful people won't have an out, you know? Yeah, so the TLDR is that the investment people are realizing that climate risk is a thing and they're considering altering course when it comes to lending money for these risky development projects. And hopefully more regulation starts to come down because it's truly horrifying to know or to watch all these like development things properties go up and just kind of knowing in the back of your head that, well, in, I don't know, depending on the nature of the situation, depending on what choices we make or don't make, um, decades into the future, those will be, you know, compromised to say the least. There's more of us than there are billionaires, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, eventually, like, if it becomes that apocalyptic, I don't think their billions matter, you know? My real praxis is all direct action. We're working on intentional educational community that will help people survive what's coming, either by coming here or using methods we teach to survive and thrive. We're building a rocket mass heat coop for bird raising and now and then making refrigerators that run on flame? On a single flame? What? That's so cool. That's so fascinating. Um yeah, we're going to need a lot of this. We're going to need a lot of this across the board, teaching people sustainability, um, and more teaching people to be more sustainable, and figuring out like alternative, you know, ways of getting food and all that. Definitely something that's necessary. A city under siege sees the wealthy sell their jewels for a loaf of bread. In survival scenarios, money is worthless. Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like eventually, if it gets to a scenario where it's really apocalyptic, I don't think their billions are gonna make any difference. To be quite honest, it does sound super cool, huh? Yeah. That's what I'm gearing myself up for too. What was I looking for? Oh yes. Our money needs to be worthless for anything to change, I think. I don't know. The refrigeration is done using Peltier devices, and the rocket mass heater is mostly cob with ducting run through and holds at least 24 plus hours once charged. Also use 1/10 of the wood of a wooden stove. Nice. Nice. That is some cool stuff right there. That is some cool stuff. Folks, we head into our... Wait, how does the flame keep things cooled in a refrigerator? I think the flame acts as a power source, yeah? Fire acts as the power source? A moneyless, stateless society? Yes, that is a part of communism. But not exclusive. That would make sense. Ignore me. No. That's the magic. The flame activates power in the first Peltier, which activates the cold, and the second Peltier, which is attached to copper and a fan to distribute the cold. Right, so the flame... Yeah, exactly. The flame makes power. Makes it go. There you go. That is fascinating. I need to learn how to do stuff like that. Alright, folks. The top of page 83 is where we're heading into the Ipcc report. We've got not too much to go. We'll see how far we can get here. I posted the link in chat. If you guys need that link, the Peltier can produce power or produce hot and cold. Nice. Feel free to check out the full document from the Ipcc itself. You can follow along or take this as an opportunity to put in headphones and just chill and vibe. Some communities/regions are resilient with strong social safety nets and social capital that support responses and actions already occurring, but there's limited information on the effectiveness of adaptation practices and the scale of action needed. High confidence. Amongst island communities, greater insight into which drivers weaken local communities and indigenous peoples' resilience, together with recognition of the social-political context within which communities operate, can assist in identifying opportunities at all scales to enhance climate adaptation and enable action towards climate-resilient development pathways. Medium evidence, high agreement. Adaptation responses to climate-driven impacts in mountain regions vary significantly in terms of goals and priorities, scope, depth, and speed of implementation, governance, and modes of decision-making, and the extent of financial and other resources to implement them. High confidence. Adaptation in Africa has multiple benefits, and most assessed adaptation options have medium effectiveness at reducing risk for present-day global warming, but their efficacy at future warming levels is largely unknown. High confidence. In Australia and New Zealand, a range of incremental and transformative adaptation options and pathways is available as long as enablers are in place to implement them. High confidence. Several enablers that can be used to improve adaptation outcomes and build resilience. High confidence, including better governance, legal reforms, improving justice, equity, and gender considerations, building human resource capacity, increased finance and risk transfer mechanisms, education and awareness programs, increased access to climate information, adequately downscaled climate data, inclusion of indigenous knowledge, and integrating cultural resources into decision-making. High confidence. So for a lack of a better word, we gotta throw the kitchen sink at it. Is what this is. If you add heat to a peltier, it makes power. If you add power, it makes heat. It makes hot and cold. Yep. Indigenous knowledge and local knowledge are crucial for socio-ecological system resilience, high confidence. Indigenous people have been faced with adaptation challenges for centuries and have developed strategies for resilience in changing environments that can enrich and strengthen other adaptation efforts. High confidence. Supporting Indigenous self-determination and recognizing Indigenous people's rights and supporting Indigenous knowledge-based adaptation can accelerate effective, robust, climate-resilient development pathways. Very high confidence. Indigenous knowledge underpins successful understanding of, responses to, and governance of climate risk. High confidence. Right, because they've been doing this for, as they say, centuries. For example, Indigenous knowledge contains resource use practices and ecosystem stewardship strategies that conserve and enhance both wild and domestic biodiversity, resulting in terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems and species that are often less degraded in indigenous managed lands than in other lands. Medium confidence. Valuing indigenous knowledge systems is a key component of climate justice. High confidence. Oh wait, I think we did finish this page. Okay, never mind. Ecosystem-based adaptation reduces climate risk across sectors, providing socio-economic health and environmental co-benefits. High confidence. Direct human dependence on ecosystem services, ecosystem health, and ecosystem protection and restoration, conservation agriculture, sustainable land management, and integrated catchment management support climate resilience. Inclusion of interdisciplinary scientific information, indigenous knowledge, and practical expertise is essential to effective ecosystem-based adaptation. High confidence. There's a high risk of maladaptation where this does not happen. High confidence. Okay, I think this is where we're actually at. Okay. If we've been stewarding the land since we crawled out of the water, or since human creation, we know how to keep Yakni healthy and happy and supporting life. Yeah, it's actually, I'm shaking. Big Amazon order arriving in the next hour. Congrats. I highly recommend reading the book 1491. I still mean to get through that book. I will. It is a thick book, alright? How's it going, Kevin? You doing alright? Maintaining planetary health is essential for human and societal health. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. No kidding. Maintaining planetary health is essential for human and societal health because, you know, it is the reason why we're alive. Keeping ecosystems functioning and stable keeps us alive. Yes. Is essential for human and societal health and a precondition for climate resilient development. High confidence. Effective ecosystem conservation on approximately 30 to 50% of Earth land, freshwater, and ocean areas, including all remaining areas with a high degree of naturalness and ecosystem integrity, will help protect biodiversity, build ecosystem resilience, and ensure essential ecosystem services. High confidence. In addition to this protection, sustainable management of the rest of the planet is also important, because all of these things are interconnected. Yes. The Earth's systems is incredibly complex, and even adjusting one thing may have domino effects on multiple lines down the road. Right, it's home and all, you know, just the only planet known that we can that we know of that sustains life, and well, to my knowledge, we can't go anywhere else right now. So yeah. Plus, if this is how we're going to treat Earth, I can't imagine us going to another planet and doing just the same thing over and over again. No, not Domino's Pizza. Although, In addition to this protection, sustainable management of the rest of the planet is also important, right? Home and all. The protected area required to maintain ecosystem integrity varies by ecosystem type and region, and their placement will determine the quality and ecological representativeness of the resulting network. Ecosystem services that are under threat from a combination of climate change and other anthropogenic pressures, including climate change mitigation, flood risk management, and water supply. High confidence. Special conservation is an internationally recognized objective in its own right and is also important for human life and well-being. Right. Yes. There is a strong positive association between species diversity and ecosystem health that is essential for providing critical regulating services, including climate regulation, water provisioning, pest and disease control, and crop pollination. High confidence. Right. The loss of species also lowers the resilience of ecosystems as a whole, including its capacity to persist through climate change and recover from extreme events. High confidence. Everything is interconnected. Species extinction levels are greater than 1,000 times natural background rates as a result of anthropogenic pressures and climate change will increasingly exacerbate this. High confidence. Jesus. That is a omega yikes. That is an omega yikes. This report really drives home why scientists are chaining themselves to Wells Fargo. Yeah. I use Yakni instead of saying Earth to shift people's fans forcefully. When you give the being Earth a proper name, you see her for what she is instead of the commodity she's treated as. Yeah. That's I agree with that. Yeah, the Earth is not a commodity; it is a necessity. I mean, unless you don't like living, unless you don't like having healthy ecosystems that provide food and water, the basic things in life, just the little things. Oh, it keeps getting better, Fu Manchu. It just keeps getting better. Conservation efforts are more effective when integrated into local spatial plans inclusive of adaptation responses along with sustainable food and fiber production systems. High confidence. Strong inclusive governance systems, participatory planning processes that support equitable and effective adaptation outcomes are gender sensitive and reduce intergroup conflict are required for enhanced ecosystem protection and restoration. High confidence. So this goes to like what I continue to go base my ideas when it comes to having a healthy democratic system, right? Because, well, they just literally laid out what I would consider the basis for a healthy democratic system. Strong institutions, meaning they do what they're supposed to be doing, and they function as proposed. Transparent, meaning that whatever actions are being taken are clear and transparent to the people, to the public. And inclusivity, which means, well, people have to participate in order for this to work. I'm full doomer pilled every time I look at part of the Ipcc report. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. The question is to use that energy to do something, right? To channel that doomer energy and saying like, you know what? The Ipcc report is true, so we got to do something about this. Solutions that support biodiversity and integrity of the ecosystem deliver essential co-benefits for people, including livelihoods, food and water security, human health and well-being. High confidence. Again, it's how we get our food. Limiting warming to 2 degrees Celsius and protecting 30% of high biodiversity regions in Africa, Asia, and Latin America is estimated to reduce risk of species extinctions by half. Wow, just doing that. Meeting the increasing need of the human population for food and fiber production requires transformation in management regimes to recognize dependencies on local healthy ecosystems with greater sustainability, including through increased use of agroecological farming approaches and adaptation to the changing climate. High confidence. People with higher levels of contract. Ooh, scam call. Get out of here. Stop it. I don't want to scam. If I wanted to scam, I would click on dubious links in my emails. What can I as an individual do to mitigate the effects of climate change against an entire economy dedicated to speeding up climate change? You as an individual, when you zoom out that way, probably nothing. But there are actions that one could take as an individual that is more sustainable, and the encouragement of taking said sustainable actions could encourage others. And talking about it and bringing this to the forefront does have some type of domino effect as well. What you do as an individual can have an effect especially in your local community, right? It's not up to you as an individual to take on, the entirety of the world. But hey, if there is something that you can do, and it's within your purview, then I say you ought, right? Is there a way you can limit the use of a car if possible? What about trying to keep your car longer instead of buying new cars every X amount? What about instead of using plastic bags, you take your own reusable bags? Try to locate, again, this is if it's within your purview, try to locate the types of packaging and food that are the type of food and stuff that come in recyclable packaging or packaging that breaks down. I mean, the little things, set the example. We need to encourage others to learn and follow. Right. That's it. Right. That's exactly correct. Even if it's just yourself, even if it's just yourself, there are small things that you can do to encourage others as well. Especially if those things save money. People with high levels of contact with nature have been found to be significantly happier, healthier, more satisfied with their lives. Damn, I think I need a friend who needs to listen to this. Oh man. People with higher levels of contact with nature have been found to be significantly happier, healthier, more satisfied with their lives. Participatory, inclusive governance approaches such as adaptive co-management or community-based planning, which integrate those groups who rely on these ecosystems, example, indigenous peoples and local communities, support equitable and effective adaptation outcomes. High confidence. Yeah, but at least you're trying. At least it's you who's taken action. Protecting and building the resilience of ecosystems through restoration in ways which are consistent with sustainable development are essential for effective climate change mitigation. Degradation and loss of ecosystems is a major cause of greenhouse gas emissions, which is increasingly exacerbated by climate change. Very high confidence. Globally, there's a 38% overlap between areas of high carbon storage and high intact biodiversity. But only 12% of that is protected. Sheesh. Addressing this gap will require an approach which takes account of human needs, particularly food security. Tropical rainforests and global peatlands are particularly important carbon stores, but are highly threatened by human disturbance, land conversion, and fire. Climate resilient development will require strategies for land-based climate change mitigation to be integrated with adaptation, biodiversity, and sustainable development objectives. There is a good potential for positive synergy, but also the potential for conflict, including with afforestation and bioenergy crops, when these objectives are pursued in isolation. High confidence. Adaptive management in response to ecosystem change is increasingly necessary and more so under higher emission scenarios. High confidence feedback from monitoring and assessments of climate change, changing the state of planetary conditions and local ecosystems enables proactive adaptation to manage risks and minimize impacts. Medium confidence integrated sectoral approaches promoting climate resilience, particularly for addressing impacts of extreme events. Extreme events are key to effective climate resilient development. Medium confidence. Adaptation cannot prevent all risks to biodiversity and ecosystem services. Very high confidence. Adaptation to conservation strategies by building resilience and planning for unavoidable change can reduce harm but will not be possible in all systems. For example, fragile ecosystems that reach critical thresholds or tipping points. I was going to say, such as the coral reefs, some forests, the Amazon, sea ice, and permafrost systems. Conservation and restoration will alone be insufficient to protect coral reefs beyond 2030. That's 8 years, folks. That's literally 8 years, 2030. And to protect the mangroves beyond the 2040s. Again, that's 20. Wait, hold on. I can math. I want to see 18. 18 years. That's not a lot of time. Deep cuts in emissions will be necessary to minimize irreversible loss and damage. High confidence. Governance arrangements and practices are presently ineffective to reduce risks, reverse path dependencies and maladaptation, and facilitate climate resilient development. Very high confidence. Jesus Christ. That is, oof. That is a big oof. Oh yeah, no, we're not talking about preventing at this point, Fu Manchu. We're all about mitigation and adaptation. That's what we're geared to at this point. And like, just take a second to soak that in. Governance arrangements and practices are presently ineffective to reduce risks, reverse path dependencies, and maladaptation, and facilitate climate resilient development. There's a very high confidence that the current arrangements and practices, in other words, the current policies in place, are just ineffective. That is a very, and mind you, this is the final version. That is the most conservative end. It's on the more conservative end because this goes through filtering for all the governments. Through all the governments, this also has like filters, and this is what came out, right? And quite often, governments tend to soften the language, and even then, this doesn't look good. This does not look good. Even in the more conservative viewpoint of the conservative end of the scale. In other words, this is the nice version, folks. This is the nice, like, I don't want to say sanitized, but the nicer version. Governance for climate resilient development involves diverse societal actors, including the most vulnerable, who can work collectively, drawing upon local and indigenous knowledge and science, and are supported by strong political will and climate change leadership. Medium confidence. Governance practices will work best when they are coordinated within and between multiple scales and levels, institutional, geographical, temporal, and sectors, with supporting financial resource, are tailored for local conditions, gender responsive and inclusive, and are founded upon enduring institutional and societal learning capabilities to adjust to complexity, dynamicism, uncertainty, and contestation that characterize escalating climate risk. In other words, this is a very, 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 very nice way of saying, hey folks, we need to get our collective-ish. We need to throw everything at this. That's what this sounds like. No, it's not dumbed down. Dumbed down meaning that it would be it would be saying that this is not as intense technically. That is not the case. The picture I'm trying to illustrate is that the language is softened in comparison as to what the scientists themselves wanted to completely put out, right? I wouldn't use that word either. I would use softened. The language has been softened, or it is on the conservative end of the scale in terms of like how nice this is being put, because it is sanitized or filtered, I should say, through by governments, right? Because they have inputs. They have inputs on this too. Prevailing governance efforts have not closed the adaptation gap. Jesus. Very high confidence, in part due to the complex interconnections between climate and non-climate risks and the limits of predominant development and government practices. Jesus. Institutional fragmentation, under-resourcing of services, inadequate adaptation funding, uneven capability to manage uncertainties and conflicting values, and reactive governance across competing policy domains collectively lock in existing exposures and vulnerabilities, creating barriers and limits to adaptation and undermine climate-resilient development prospects. High confidence. This is amplified by inequity, poverty, population growth, and high population density and land use change, especially deforestation, soil degradation, and biodiversity loss, high dependence of national and local economies on natural resources for production of commodities, weak governance, unequal access to safe water and sanitation services, and lack of infrastructure and financing, which reduce adaptation capacity and deepen vulnerability. Yikes. Incompetent governance, and the fact that there's no sense of urgency. No sense of urgency. At some point, we need to be in the streets. Well, the some point should be like, it is happening. We just had a massive demonstration not too long ago. It needs to keep happening. How can we decarbonize trucking? Oh, that's a link. Send it to me. That's a link. I can post that in chat before we sign off. Because this is real and an existential threat that we can't wait till the last minute to address. Like, at what point is revolution in Roblox, of course, the best option? Probably at the point where it's already too late, because like we're already setting off chain reactions that we've already set off a lot of dominoes that aren't going to be put back in the box, so to speak. This is the link that Astro was suggesting. If it did, gun reform and racial justice would have been passed. Well, I think at some point something will give. At some point something's got to give, right? Folks, unfortunately, that is all the time I have today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. You guys are what makes this channel rock. Thank you so much for the massive raid to the Benjamin P. Dixon Show. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jam Tomb. I appreciate you. really quickly. Check this out, folks. If you haven't already, please go show some love to the Benjamin P. Dixon Show in the AM. Please go show some love to Jam Tomb. You know what, Fu Manchu, you reminded me. I think I got everybody. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted tier subs, Fu Manchu. I appreciate that. Really, thank you. Thank you for the support. You guys are what makes this go. Thank you, keep speaking truth to power in the seriously hard of thinking. Jam Tomb, thank you. I appreciate that. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to follow. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the YouTubes. It really does help us out. Spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. No Saturday categories for this time around, but stick around on the Discords for any updates. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Wait, tomorrow, we will be finishing this Ipcc report. I'm doing it. All right, I'm doing it. See ya. All right, hang tight, folks. Hang tight. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.